the sound of a screen door slamming, the smell of pimento cheese from the Piggly Wiggly, the sight of an actual video rental store on every corner. If you grew up in 1980s Georgia, you lived in a world that's vanished so completely it might as well be ancient history. These aren't just memories. They're artifacts of a life that existed and disappeared. Friday nights meant one destination for every teenager in Georgia: the skating rink, not some sanitized family entertainment center. We're talking about proper roller rinks with carpet that stuck to your shoes, arcade games lining the walls, and that distinctive smell of popcorn mixed with rental skate disinfectant. Places like Sparkles in Smyrna or the legendary Golden Skate in Marietta were packed every weekend. The DJ booth sat elevated in the center, spinning everything from Michael Jackson to Run DMC. And when the lights dimmed for couples skate, everything got awkward real fast. You'd rent those tan leather skates that never fit quite right, lace them up tight, and hit that polished wood floor. The advanced skaters went backwards. The rest of us just tried not to fall during the fast songs. Every rink had the same games, 4 corners, where you'd skate to a numbered corner and pray yours wasn't called. The limbo bar that separated the flexible from the humiliated. Speed skating races that ended with someone crashing into the carpeted rest area. These weren't just weekend entertainment, they were social headquarters. You'd see the same people every Friday make plans, start drama, end drama, all while circling that oval floor endlessly. The snack bar sold the worst pizza imaginable and the best nachos you'd ever tasted, probably because you were starving from skating for 3 hours straight. When skating rinks started closing in the late 90s and 2000s, they took an entire social ecosystem with them. Rich's department store wasn't just where your mama shopped. It was an Atlanta institution that defined Southern retail for over a century. The flagship store on Forsyth Street downtown had a bridge connecting it across the street, the Crystal Bridge, covered entirely in glass panels. Inside, everything was elegant in a way department stores don't bother with anymore. The elevator operators wore white gloves and actually operated the elevators manually, calling out each floor's departments. Christmas at Rich's was mandatory. The great tree in the atrium stretched multiple stories high, decorated with thousands of lights and ornaments. The Pink Pig monorail ride, Priscilla, carried children through a winter wonderland scene on the roof. Kids waited in lines that wrapped around entire floors just for their 3-minute ride. Parents bought their good clothes at Rich's, their furniture, their appliances, everything. The Magnolia Room restaurant on the 6th floor served lunch to ladies who shopped, chicken salad, and those famous cheese straws that people still try to recreate. When Macy's bought Rich's in 2005 and erased the name completely, Georgians mourned. It wasn't about loyalty to a store. It was about losing a piece of identity that connected generations. But nothing represented 1980s Georgia communication quite like the phone situation in every house. One phone attached to the kitchen wall with a cord that stretched maybe 6 feet if you were lucky. Privacy didn't exist. Your mama could hear every word of every conversation while she cooked dinner. The phone was beige or that weird cream color, rotary dial if your family hadn't upgraded yet, push button if you were fancy. Long-distance calls were events that required permission and planning. calling your cousin in Savannah from Atlanta meant watching the clock because every minute cost money. Your parents had the phone company's rate schedule memorized. Calls after 7 were cheaper. Weekends were cheaper. Never ever call long distance during business hours unless someone died. If you wanted to talk to your friend, you called their house and spoke to whoever answered, usually a parent who'd yell their name through the house. Then you'd wait while they came to the phone, probably annoyed they had to stop whatever they were doing. There was no texting to confirm plans. You called, you made arrangements, you showed up. If plans changed, somebody's mama had to drive to someone's house to deliver the message in person. And the teenage nightmare, talking to your girlfriend or boyfriend while your entire family listened to every word from 3 feet away. You try to stretch that spiral cord into the hallway, the pantry, anywhere that offered even the illusion of privacy. But that cord only went so far, and your mama's ears went further. The phone tyranny shaped how an entire generation communicated, and when cordless phones finally arrived in the late 80s, it felt like prison release. These pieces of 1980s Georgia didn't fade gradually. They vanished, replaced by something else entirely, leaving behind only the people who remember what it used to be like. Growing up in 1980s, Georgia meant your summer social life revolved entirely around whoever had a pool. Every neighborhood had that one family with an above-ground pool in their backyard. And suddenly their mediocre kids became the most popular children within a 5-mile radius. You'd show up uninvited but expected, towel rolled under your arm, knowing that Mrs. Henderson wouldn't turn you away even though she was already feeding 7 kids who weren't hers. The pools were nothing fancy. Above-ground cylinders of metal and vinyl with ladders that burned your feet on hot days. The water was never quite clean, always slightly cloudy with a chemical smell that stung your eyes. But none of that mattered because it was water and it was hot and you were 12. Pool rules were enforced by whoever's mama owned the pool, and they were absolute. No running, no diving obviously because the water was 4 feet deep. No dunking, no peeing, though everyone definitely peed. Out by 5:30 because supper was at 6. You'd swim until your fingers pruned and your lips turned purple until some mama finally yelled that it was time to go home. Then you'd wrap up in a towel that smelled like mildew because it never fully dried in Georgia humidity, and you'd ride your bike home, leaving a trail of chlorine water down the street. The social hierarchy of 1980s Georgia schools was brutally simple and completely visible. You knew exactly where you stood based on what you wore, what you brought for lunch, and whether you got dropped off or took the bus. Izod shirts with the alligator logo meant money. So did Guess jeans with that triangle patch in the back pocket. Reebok high tops, the white ones, marked you as somebody whose parents cared about keeping up. If you wore no name brands from Richway or Kmart, everyone knew, and kids were not kind about it. The cafeteria revealed everything. Kids whose mamas packed lunch had better social standing than kids who bought lunch, unless you were poor enough to get free lunch, which meant using a different colored ticket that announced your family's financial situation to everyone in line. Some kids tried to hide their free lunch tickets, palming them quickly, but everybody knew anyway. Getting dropped off in your mama's car was fine. Getting dropped off in your daddy's truck was fine. Taking the bus was acceptable. But getting dropped off in a new car, especially something foreign, elevated your status considerably. Yet nothing defined 1980s. Georgia childhood quite like the complete lack of air conditioning in places you'd expect it now. School buses were rolling ovens from August through October. 40 kids crammed into green vinyl seats, windows down, everyone drenched in sweat by the time you arrived. The driver looked half dead. Kids in the back passed out from heat exhaustion semi-regularly. Nobody thought much of it. Churches were the worst. Sunday morning service in a sanctuary that hadn't been updated since 1952. Ceiling fans spinning uselessly overhead, moving hot air from one place to another. The preacher sweated through his suit. The choir looked ready to collapse. Women fanned themselves with paper fans stapled to wooden sticks, usually donated by a local funeral home with their business advertised right there on the back. You'd stick to the wooden pews, your good clothes soaked through, counting the minutes until the benediction released you into the marginally cooler outside air. What makes you emotional about 1980s? Georgia isn't nostalgia for better times because plenty was worse then. It's mourning a specific feeling that's gone. The feeling of a place that knew itself, that moved slower, that still had room for kids to be bored and unsupervised and free. Georgia changed faster than most places. The Atlanta metro area exploded. Strip malls and subdivisions paved over the places you played. The accent softened as people moved in from elsewhere. But if you were there in the 80s, you caught the tail end of something older, something that doesn't exist anymore except in memory. You remember it in your bones, the heat, the boredom, the freedom, the simplicity of a world that fit inside your neighborhood because that's all you needed. That Georgia is gone, but you were there, and nobody can take that away. If these memories hit you somewhere deep, if you can smell that skating rink or feel that vinyl bus seat sticking to your legs, then you lived something real, something that can't be replicated or brought back no matter how much money someone throws at it. That version of Georgia exists now only in the minds of people who were there, and every year there are fewer of us who remember. Drop a comment about what you miss most. Was it your skating rink? Your neighborhood pool? That one store that defined your childhood? Share this with someone who grew up in Georgia the same time you did. They'll understand every single word. And if you want more stories about the South that was, subscribe, because there's plenty more where this came from. The 1980s Georgia we knew is gone, but we're still here carrying it forward, remembering it right.